Great. So here we are with everybody, and it is Tuesday, May 5th. And we'll have a little chat for a while about how we're doing our business. And you folks already know about muting your phone if you need to. Hi, who just joined us?
It's Peter.
Hey, Peter, welcome. I just hit the record button, and I was just reminding people that if things get noisy on your end, by any chance, hit your mute key or hit *6, and *6 would unmute you. And Connie said she just had some interesting report to tell about her brother, so take it away, Connie.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good testimony, I think, so far anyway. My brother, he smoked all of his life, and he's had other health issues, schizophrenia, and he just had a whole bunch of heart complications. Anyway, the last time he was in hospital, they said that they sent him home, said there wasn't anything else they could do for him, that he had COPD, he was in the last stages. And my sister was talking about his days were numbered. And I just decided at that point he'd taken Immunical a little bit off and on, but not enough because he, said he had complications with it. But anyway, so I said he needed to take 4 packages. It would help him if he would just listen and take it. And it's been about 2 or 3 weeks now. I even said I would visit him every day if he would take it, and he is starting to get better each day. He's even saying, the Immunical's helping me, and he's talking better. His spirits are better.
What was he like when this started? What state was he in? What was his energy like and his breathing and stuff?
He actually, when I went to visit him when he got home, I was on oxygen 24/7. He would only just walk a few feet, and then he'd be all panicky because he couldn't breathe, and you'd kind of have to, calm him down, and he was just in a terrible state. And now he's asking, to go out to restaurants with me, and he's pretty confident, starting to feel confident that he's going to actually get off the oxygen. So,
okay,
and that's just 3 weeks.
Nice.
So I'm pretty happy, sister.
Yeah. Lovely.
Very encouraging.
Mhm.
That's a good story, Danny, for you to tell Randy.
Yeah, for sure.
Danny has a cousin with COPD, and he said that the doctor said there wasn't anything that they could do. And I said, well, there is.
Right.
Sure, Connie, I missed something there. What was his problem?
Well, he started taking the Immunical for COPD. They said he was in the last stages of it. So he was on they put him on oxygen 24/7, and he'd been on prednisone and so many things. Maybe there was they sent him home and said there wasn't anything else they could do for him. And my sister was kind of telling people that he didn't have much longer to live.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you always have to, when the doctors say there isn't anything else you can do, you have to add in your mind, given what they know.
Yeah, well, that's what I said to him. I said, Ken, they're telling you, I said, it's right in the physician's desk reference, especially listed in the American version, that, it can help with COPD. I said, they're not telling you about it because that's not something they deal in. I said, you have to believe it's going to work, and you have to take it. And now he believes that it's helping. He said the other day. And I believe it's helping with his moods, too.
Isn't that good? Oh, lovely. Very nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Good for you for sticking with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a project. So, and we're watching, actually, I haven't checked it for a couple of days. There's that project to save Jerry's legs. We're working on getting enough contributions to help this guy out in British Columbia whose legs got these terrible ulcer sores on them. And
yeah, I still have to go on and put some money on that. I forgot to.
Right. So that's coming along. So like I said before we got on, I had a really busy week last week, so I didn't do a lot of planning for tonight. But I thought it might be helpful just to chat a little bit about, in the sense of why why would anybody want to do a network marketing business? And I'll just mention a few things, and it can be kind of an open conversation. Partly, what's the difference between being in sales and being a network marketer? And some of the things that about network marketing that are different from other kinds of businesses, so that we really get that clear in our mind what we can offer people. And then maybe a little farther down, knowing the difference between features and benefits and how to talk to people business-wise about what the benefits could be to them. So does anybody have anything they want to add just off the top of their head to start with?
Network marketing has a walk-away income, residual income. That's one of the greatest things about it.
I think the big thing with it is a residual income you can build.
Yeah.
What you do month after month, year after year is always building. Too many other types of things like what I do right now. The end of the month, they wipe the sales board clean. You start off with zero again. And all your efforts for that month, you've made your money. That's it. Never see them again. And I think the residuals, long term, are very, very important. And the other part of it is you can start this, at very little money. It's $300 to $500, and you're in business, and a few hundred to start getting advertising going, and it's pretty hard with the potential we have, to do anything else for such low dollars.
So if we're talking to somebody who's been used to being on a salary, let's say they're not in a commission business like you are, Peter, but they're used to being on a salary, so they kind of know they work this many hours and they get this much money. How can we explain to them? Like for starters, we know we have a huge opportunity with the residual income that you can actually build something. But how can we really help them get their head around that they're starting out as a working apprentice, and the fact that they don't make much this week or this month doesn't mean that the business isn't working for them.
Well, I think, Linda, most people are, and the way I have to do this too. But very few people have got the money to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I've got enough money to live on for the next 6 months or a year while I build this business. It's got to be done alongside their job. Okay, and I think one of the problems we're going to have, and I've talked to people on this vein, where do I find the time? Well, I think if you break people's time down, I said to a friend of mine not that long ago, I said, okay, how many hours a week do you spend watching sports? And, he wasn't sure, but I said, okay, but think about that, how watching sports. What else do you do? How much TV do you actually watch? And when we really sat down and figured it out, he was spending 15 hours a week watching television.
And
I said,
how much income is he getting from that?
Well, that was it. And I said, so if we took 10 hours of that and put it into your business, I said, there are people in this industry that have built a very, very solid business up on 10 hours a week and gradually got themselves to a point they could afford to walk away from their job because their new business was making them more than the job. So it's priorities. You got to prioritize your life. Do you want to stay where you are for the rest of your life, making 50, 60 grand a year, if that? Because, any type of sales job, or, people aren't making big money. I see enough of them on credit applications, and sometimes it shocks me how they're actually doing it, living. To get into something that can make them six figures, and good six figures, not low six figures. I mean, this business to me has got to at some point giving me mid-six figures. And of course, I'm egotistical enough to figure that give me 4 to 5 years, and I'll have it in the 7 figures. And the potential is there. It's not. To most people, you say that, and they look at you like you're some kind of a nutcase. But there's people that do that. We both know that. So why can't I do that? There's no reason. Other than what I can put into it and what I can create and what I can put together.
I think you can say the same thing about people saying that they don't have the money to put into the business either, because if I'll often say, well, if you go to Tim Hortons, and spend so much on your coffee and a donut or whatever, if you add that up over the month, there's your...
Hey, I saw windows the same way.
What? Yeah, do you? Yeah.
Let's figure this out.
You got true,
I don't have $90 a month. That's okay. Let's figure your money out. What are you doing with it?
Yeah.
Oh well, I always ask them, do you go to Timmy's? Oh yeah. I have to go to Timmy's. I said, well, is your Timmy's coffee and donut worth more than fixing your house up?
Yeah.
I have other things in these windows I won't get into, but but it's all prioritizing. Oh, I can't talk. Your time, your resources for a different outcome in your life. And I've asked people, are you happy with the way your life is going? Are you going to be happy in 5 years if you don't make some changes? Well, no, I'm not happy with this, blah, blah, blah. So making changes would be a good thing. So if you start small now and start making those changes, give it some time, and you're going to see a whole different life in front of yourself.
So what can we use to help paint the picture for people of the fact that, well, maybe I'll come at it another way. If you told somebody, listen, my brother-in-law has this beautiful Mercedes car. He just has to get rid of it like as fast as he possibly can. Can you come up with $1,000 for his Mercedes? And I don't think many people would have trouble figuring out that the Mercedes is worth well over that. What can we do to help people really see and really understand the value of the business and the reality of the possibilities there?
Oh boy, Linda. I mean, you know how rough things have been, and for me lately, and I think we're facing a problem right now in this country. And it can work for us or against us with what we're trying to do with this business. There's an awful lot of people that I talk to about windows and I'm talking people that seriously need them. I mean, the windows are so bad; they're obviously, just by looking at them, in distress. But they won't commit to doing it. They won't commit to even $100 a month payment, for the very simple reason they're terrified of losing their jobs. There is an innate fear in a lot of people right now in this country, and I run into enough of them, that are terrified of losing their job and don't know where they'll go next.
So if we could show people a realistic plan for how they could make even $500 a month to start a cushion, would that be meaningful for them?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's and with some people, I think it's the way they're going to start. I mean, you and I have played with all kinds of ideas, on Facebook and that. But Facebook costs money, and Facebook can cost very little money, but because you can control it, as we know. But these free classifieds and things like that, there are ways to do this, where you can reach out and find people to talk to. And then it's a matter of, I think you've got to say, if somebody is truly, truly interested, if you're getting all the positive vibes out of them, Yes, I like this. Yes, I see network marketing will work. Yes, I want to change my life. Yes, I want to do this. But, and then there's the big but, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. Okay, let's see if you do have the time and the money. Let's take a look at your week, your average week. Let's take a look at what you're doing with your money and see if we can find just enough to make this fly for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would that not be a good thing if we can do that? And most people, if they're interested enough, will say, yeah, if we can do that. And Linda, most people waste 10 hours a week.
Absolutely. I know one of the things that I forget if it was Eric Worre or Richard Brooke. I think it was one or the other of the guys. Maybe it was Eric. Saying, he said, people will go to school for years to learn how to be a doctor, and they'll train their whole lifetime to be a professional athlete, but they get into networking, and it never occurs to them that they might want to learn how to do the business. To really help people understand there are things that work better and things that don't work so well, and to really take some time to pay attention to some of the leaders in the field who have some really good stuff to say.
Yeah, don't if you can find somebody that's got a formula that works, why reinvent the wheel?
Exactly. Connie, what's it meant
to
you listening to that Jim Rohn recording?
Oh, I think anybody's listened to me before said that's kind of what changed me, because he had tips. Well, maybe being female too. Like, I would be upset if things didn't go right, or and when he breaks it down and says, well, just say, well, that's interesting, or not everybody is going to want to do network marketing. And I just realized that I just want to let people know, what is possible with it, and just, give it a chance to find out. Because a lot of people will say they don't want to do network marketing simply because they don't really know what it involves. They've heard other stories, or like you say, they've had a bad experience. But when we
what I did? I don't mean to interrupt.
Sorry.
Pardon?
I was just saying, one of the things, Dan's sister, we did a presentation on it, because there's just sometimes a lot to talk about it. And if you do a presentation, it just seems to come alive. She said she didn't understand our product, or, well, we didn't go into the business so much, but she found that she didn't understand the product until we did the PowerPoint. So it's about educating people.
I said it's something I've been, when I talk to people, I use, and because I'm thinking of somebody, a guy I bought a car from, and we got talking, and I said something about this, and he looked at me. He said, "You're not that stupid, are you?" I mean, he was just dead set against network marketing, and I didn't really get into it and why, but there was something there. But I looked at Barry, and I said, look at Barry, you're right. You're completely right. Network marketing doesn't work for about 90% of the people. And there's reasons for that. It can be the company, it can be their work ethic, it can be a lot of things. But if 90% don't make it work, doesn't that mean that 10% are making it work?
And what's
what
the
about
percentage? What's the percentage for traditional business people being successful if they start their own business?
Oh, okay. It can, well, what is it? I think 80% of companies go out in the first 2 years.
There you go. So there's not much difference there.
But, he looked at me and he said, wait a second. He said, you're telling me 90% fail. I said, yeah, they do. I said, and those are numbers I've heard from a couple of people. But I said, where's that? What about the 10%, Barry? The 10%, what we call the 10%, top end of the 10%? He said, no, what? I said, multimillionaires. And he's looking at me, and I said, don't just throw something away because, maybe your Uncle Rufus has got a garage full of widgets from 20 years ago. People are making very serious careers and money with this. open your eyes and your mind up a little bit. I don't think people. There's always going to be those that think that they know everything, and network marketing, it's a scam. And I got into this with my own doctor, and I'm mad at her about it because she won't talk to me. The first thing she said, "Oh, well, that's just one of those pyramid schemes." And I said, you should take a look in I can't remember the name of the Red Book. I said, it's in there. I said, I'll get you the page numbers. Our company and our products are in there and are recommended to doctors and are used by doctors. So don't poo-poo this. Because she already knows my thoughts about pharmacology, and they're not good. But
I'm just curious, while we still have a few minutes, Dan, if you have any feedback on because you're relatively new to the business, and what is it that would make this kind of business seem attractive enough for you to put some time and effort into it?
That's a good thought. Well, for me, anyways, it's the managing of time, obviously, because I do have that full-time job type of thing, but
yeah.
And I have my mother to take care of, and that kind of eats up a bit of time too. So I guess it's more for me just kind of managing the time and trying to stick with it and not get waylaid with other little things, like you say with TV and whatnot.
And what made you think it might even be worth trying to carve out time for yourself? Why
I thought I'd get into it?
Yeah. Because you have put some time into it. You've been talking to people and done some presentations.
Yeah, well, I think for me, what kind of got me into it too was with the job I was working at last year, and it turned out to be pretty stressful, and I had some issues, so I figured it was time to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And Connie introduced me to it, and I'm gonna admit I was skeptical first too, because I've heard these so-called get-rich-quick schemes type of thing before, and you kind of sit back and go, yeah, sure. But if it had been a total stranger, I probably wouldn't have bothered. I'd probably just let them rabble on, and then don't call me, I'll call you.
Right.
But because I know Connie so well, and I've seen what she's gone through,
mm-hmm.
So it was pretty evident that there is something to this. Sure, I'm still a little skeptic, not so much as I was when I started, but it's dealing with the people that you just can't seem to convince too. So it's like go so far and say, okay, I'll have to forget about them for now. Let's go focus on somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's for me, it's really different than what I'm used to doing. That's for sure. So it's a lot of kind of toeing the line and trying to keep myself with the right blinders on to keep myself focused. So it's like all the books I got to finish reading them on how to. So.
I think there's
If I may throw something in here, because I've been at this type of thing for a long time. One thing you can't do, Dan, is let the rejection get to you.
No. I understand that.
Even when you work with a professional marketing department, okay, and I'm going back to my windows again, who are providing the leads for you, a good rep will close 40%. 6 out of 10 of them are going to go down for one reason or another.
And that's a person with a lot of experience, and
that,
they know
yes,
their presentation.
and I've had my moments when I can get the closing average up to 50, 55, but then I've been doing this a long time. Yeah. But if you really even take my sales over, the years, 35 to 40% is about the average. So I guess my best advice to anybody would be, if you've got a real stubborn one who's digging in their heels, just don't worry about it. Thank them for their time and their interest. Next. Yeah. Don't waste your time. Now, I would put them in a callback list
Right.
And maybe 6 months from now, I'll call them up and say, "Hi, Joe. We talked about our business opportunity. I just thought you'd like to know, that I've recruited in that 6 months 30 other people, and 20 of them are already making over $2,000 a month with their business. How's things going for you?" And that's all I say. And I start talking about personal things, away from it altogether, and let that fester in his head a little bit. May do something, may not. But it's interesting to watch people's minds work sometimes. But when you're doing this or doing anything like this, you got to let the rejection roll off your back, because you're going to get it every day of the week.
Yeah, I keep reminding myself of that every now and again too. Okay, just focus someplace else for now.
Oh yeah, I mean, and and it just do the very best you can. And I have to be careful, because I've got such a sales background, and sales to me is not convincing people to buy something they don't need or don't want. I'm an information source, and I present people with information, the features of my product, the advantages of those features to the customer, and the benefits to the customer. And the same thing can be done with anything, including what we're talking about here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if people
we have to
can't
decide
see,
we have to decide if we're talking about benefits of product, or are we talking about benefits of making some money? And we can go from two different directions.
Well, yeah, sure you can. Sure you can. And maybe the health thing. See, Linda, I think we kind of touched briefly on this earlier today. I personally feel right now there has not been a better time in a long time for this type of thing, network marketing, especially with the products that Immunotech has. Mm-hmm. The products are solid. The results are proven. There's nothing. The compensation plan is excellent. Everything's there, and people are uptight. And if somebody's sitting there saying, "Geez, I could lose my job," as we talked about earlier, when Cambridge, when Toyota's shutting down that great big Cambridge operation and moving it to Mexico, that's got a lot of people terrified. Mm-hmm. What do they do with their lives? Go to Walmart at $10 an hour?
So our job is to be able to really communicate what we can offer them so that they can hear it and see it. And
exactly.
The same thing with all these young people going to university and not getting any jobs. They're going to turn to network marketing is going to get bigger and bigger.
Oh, sure it is.
Yeah.
Bob Kawasaki, and I think it's in that the Rise of the Entrepreneur tape that Eric did. Mm-hmm. He said he laughs. He sits there and laughs. He says something, and I'm not paraphrasing him completely, but he said, "How stupid is this? You spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school to get a job? Get a job?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he just, and the way he puts it, he's much as saying, "You're a fool." And there's a very successful man. You can't argue with his success.
Well, I'm still subscribing. You're mentioning that Rise movie, Peter. I'm still subscribing to it, and if any of you ever wants to have one of those invitations sent to somebody, be sure to let me know.
Okay.
Janet probably needs
funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's still available to anybody who has somebody who just needs to know a little more about the business.
Yeah. Well, those things are excellent tools. Use them, and those two the one you did on the business and the one you did on the products, those little 11, 12-minute videos, they're excellent. I still want to redo those with my voice on them, but that's not, paramount in my world right now. Yeah. I like my voice better than yours.
That's one's opinion.
Yeah, and the Jim Rohn tape, as Linda said, the Jim Rohn CD is a must to listen to.
That's a really nice one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's in your kit, so that's handy. It's somewhere around your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I want to close out the recording. I really appreciate everybody chiming in a little bit, and I think it's important to just keep this kind of train of thought alive in our minds, so that when you do, like when I heard that guy talking on a week ago Sunday, and I knew, okay, this is what I have to do to help this fellow, that your mind is kind of primed and you have some directions ready for where you want to direct somebody. So I am going to stop the recording, and then we can chat a little more. Hold on a second, please.